How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and I'm here with Elliot Heath, product line manager at Nike. Today, we are going to be taking a first look, deep dive into the premier distance spike on the market. I feel like this is the shoe we've seen the most when you look out on the track at any high school or college meet. We got the Nike Dragonfly version 2. Can you tell us about the inspiration for this shoe and how it's gotten from the early days of distance spikes with no cushioning to the ZoomX infused Dragonfly 2?
Sure, thanks Connor. Yeah, the Dragonfly is kind of the original super spike. It took learnings from the Vaporfly on the roads and was really the first spike ever to bring that inspiration into the track. Something that we really changed that paradigm shift for athletes everywhere was thinking actually you could make a really fast spike that also had cushion and energy return rather than removing more and more and just getting more reductive. The Dragonfly changed all of that. And like you said, we've seen athletes from high schoolers everywhere breaking personal bests and setting records and medals and records everywhere. We've seen it on the collegiate level. If we look back to the Tokyo Games, there were no spike. Actually, the other three highest scoring spikes didn't even add up to the number of medals that were run in the Dragonfly there. So we've had amazing athletes be a part of that journey and really power these shoes, but we've heard nothing but good things from the athletes along the way.
Yeah, and when we talk about distance, really that underfoot cushioning, that responsiveness, that protection is so important. And this shoe obviously has a unique setup. Can you tell us about the midsole? Do we still have the same ZoomX cushioning, and what's changed?
Yeah, so if we look at the midsole of the Dragonfly, that's actually what powers all of it. You look at the full-length ZoomX foam. ZoomX foam is our lightest and most resilient foam, so the more energy athletes are putting in, the more they're getting back. And it's also super, super lightweight in cushions. They're not have to trade off the weight for performance. The Dragonfly 1 introduced that full-length ZoomX. In the Dragonfly 2, that same foam is there, but we've actually gotten a little bit better at processing that to get an overall better performance out of it. We've also designed a different shape to it. So something that athletes want a little bit more of is a little bit extra stability in transition. If you look at just a tiny few millimeters here through the midfoot as well as the heel, it's a wider, more stable platform, ultimately giving them a little bit more confidence and stability to engage that ZoomX foam. Sandwiched in between that foam, we have a full-length plate. And if you're looking at it from the bottom, you'll also notice that there's just 4 spikes and not 6. Similar to the Victory and the Maxfly, we looked at the traction needs of athletes running these races and tried to see, could we actually remove spikes from the bottom, ultimately saving weight. The metal is very heavy. If we can take out that metal, it's gonna save weight. And we never wanted to sacrifice the need of traction for athletes. So we wanted to make sure if we were removing them, that they had enough, not only for the long distances, but we know how important that the Dragonfly is for the steeplechase. So the placement of these spikes is really key for the steeplechase, allowing you to engage that barrier and still get all the traction you need.
And when you look at shoes like the Victory, it's got a carbon plate embedded in the shoe as well as a spike plate. This is a little bit different. The spike plate actually works as the stabilizing feature as well. Can you tell us a little bit more why you guys went this route and what the benefits are?
Yeah, so every shoe that we make, it comes down to a recipe of using a lot of the similar ingredients, but designing them around the needs of the athletes. And when you look at the longer distance athletes, they demand a really, really comfortable, but also smooth propulsive transition in their shoes. And the construction of the Dragonfly 2 really highlights that. For Victory, it's a little bit different. It's a different system of speed. For the Dragonfly, it's all about that propulsive nature and that continuous plate. That plate comes to touch the track in the forefoot, and then it disappears behind the foam, ultimately giving a propulsive feel, but also one that's really versatile and a smooth transition. Something similar to what you might feel in the Vaporfly.
Now, wrapping the shoe all together, we've got the upper, and Dragonfly's always been super lightweight, super minimal, but again, has just enough to get you through some of those longer distance races. What's different in this version?
Yeah, when you talk to distance athletes, sock-like fit is something that they say over and over, and that's ultimately the goal that we're trying to achieve with this Dragonfly upper. If you look at all the details, it's more than just a one-size-fits-all or everything the same all over. This is engineered in all the different zones to provide breathability where you want it, containment where you want it, and also just softness and contour where you want it. So we swapped out a couple different yarns in this engineered upper to be even softer, conform to the foot a little bit better. but we also added a little bit of reinforcement, especially to the heel, really locking in that heel to give security and confidence for athletes on such a responsive system and something that's going to be comfortable to go the distance.
And it seems like that heel is maybe the biggest change in the upper. Was that something that elites were asking for? Is that something that will actually benefit in those longer distance races from a stability standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, we sometimes think of distance athletes as being these slow, boring, plodding athletes, but actually they're really, really powerful if you look at them. They're on their toes. I mean, even for a 10K athlete, they're sometimes closing the final 400 just like a sprinter in under 55 seconds. And so the shoe has to be really dynamic for not only those slower paces, but when they get up and sprint. And so that heel gives more confidence, and it removes any sort of question that the shoe is staying super secure onto their foot.
Now the Dragonfly 2 really is a distance spike. That's what it's built for, but we've talked about seeing it on the feet of athletes from 800 all the way to 10K. Do you feel like this shoe really has the versatility to do a wide range of events?
Yeah, I think if you actually look at all three of the shoes coming to market for 2024, they expanded their versatility from the Maxfly on the sprint side to the Victory in the middle distances, and then the Dragonfly in the longer distances. The versatility components of them is only an added bonus when we look at the other performance that they're bringing to the athletes. But I think we're gonna see most athletes in those longer distances gravitating towards the Dragonfly. We'll see athletes in the middle distances gravitating toward the Victory, and then the sprints for the Maxfly. And then those athletes that feel like the Dragonfly really suits them, they'll probably take it down a little bit further. But for some athletes, the Victory is gonna be it for all the way up to the 10K. So there's always athlete preference and decision making to it, but I think you're gonna see them fall into those three main buckets.
Well, it's so exciting to see the advancements in the super spikes. Nike continues to push forward. Again, we see a lot of the inspiration from that last version, which I think is a good thing because it was so wildly popular, but small refinements to continue to build upon those efficiencies and continue to make the fastest spike in the world. If you're looking to get the Nike Dragonfly 2 on your own feet, you'll be able to find it here at Running Warehouse.